In the far north, on Spitsbergen, the Arctic cold has preserved a near-forgotten place. The settlement lies like a foreign body between the bare mountains. Pyramida, a Soviet legacy in the middle of the Norwegian polar island. The Soviets set up this western outpost after the Second World War. An international treaty of 1920 gave them the right to do so. Pyramida gets its proud name from the impressive mountain by which it stands. This mountain, with its coal deposits, was what made life possible here to begin with. Life under adverse conditions. The ice in the fjord by Pyramida only melts between July and September. For the rest of the time, the coal miners were left almost entirely to their own devices. Cut off from their families, their home, and from the world, the Soviets wanted a bridgehead at all costs. In the depths of the rugged Arctic, in the land of the pointy, jagged mountains, you will find shafts with exemplary management. In the distant future, we see these towns with their bright fires shining in the darkness of the polar night between the eternal glaciers. The steep mountains and the deep fjords, warm oases of modern life at the furthest reaches of the world. So said the director of the Arktigu mining company, Nikolai Gniloribov, during his appraisal in 1988, the Perestroika period. The dream of flourishing communism on Spitsbergen shattered when the Soviet Union fell apart. Today, seagulls have reclaimed this settlement. The steep Soviet housing blocks tower in the landscape, in the wind shadow of the high mountains. An ideal home for birds, since the miners left. In the past, many came to Spitsbergen to earn money through coal. Today, the Norwegians, Hein Bjerk and Elin Andreasen, are searching for signs of Homo Sovieticus. A Stone Age expert and a photographer run the website Ruin Memories. They're using abandoned places like Pyramida to document what's happening to the remains of modernity. The place is still full of life in the archaeologist's memory. In the 90s, when he was advisor to the governor of Spitsbergen, he experienced the final years of this settlement.
We're mainly interested in the interaction between objects, structures and people. There are some universal principles, regardless of whether you're researching the Stone Age or the 1990s. We're in a non-place here. a place that isn't really a place. The architectural structure pays no attention to its surroundings. It looks like the settlement was dropped here by helicopter. It was all conceived on the drawing board, with an ingenious master plan in mind. You don't find that kind of thing in small towns in Norway.
It's true. You can really feel that an urban spirit was to be created up here in the Arctic. In fact, you feel it yourself when you're here.
Huge apartment blocks were built on the permafrost. Materials, construction machines and heavy mining equipment all came by boat from the Soviet Union. Coal had placed Spitsbergen on the international stage at the start of the 20th century. Norwegians, Swedes, the Dutch and the British, as well as Americans, all signed the Svalbard Treaty, which gave the signatories equal rights in commercial exploitation. The Soviets soon signed the treaty too, but mining on Spitsbergen was only worth it for a few years after World War II. Nevertheless, the Soviets developed Pyramida as their bridgehead on Western territory in the middle of the Cold War. Today, it's others who are interested in these modern ruins. Where once the conveyor belts hummed, these young men are now looking for the new sounds that are typical of Pyramida today. The musicians of the Danish band Efterklang, meaning echo or reverberation, are drawn to the decay. They also have a soft spot for Russian culture. Years ago, friends had told them about Pyramida. The place has long since become cult among artists.
Yes. Come on here. Perfect. Okay.
My expectations were very much surpassed. This place is really indescribable. It's a mix of an unusual natural environment and a quite unique culture.
The three say their music is experimental avant-garde pop. Collecting sounds and noises is at the heart of all their pieces and albums.
When you found an abandoned house as a child, you crept in. That was exciting. Here, we have a whole town that's abandoned.
Ja, det er svært.
Ja, det er svært.
Of course, we're primarily artists, but we're motivated by the desire to explore. Our approach to music is one of little boys who want to explore.
Måske drenget tilgang til, hvordan man laver musik.
We're interested in the fairy tale in everything we do.
Det, som spændende for os.
This place is a fairy tale.
Det her et eventyr.
For a few years now, ships have been docking regularly at the Russian outpost. 6 times a week, they bring day trippers. Dmitry Andreev, a geography student from St. Petersburg, guides them through the settlement. Up to 100 people come every day. When the shaft was still in operation, the miners and supervisors would arrive here, as did the official visitors from the foreign capitalist Norway. During the short ice-free summers, the ships brought mail and food from home. On the way back, they took coal from Pyramida to the Soviet Union. These days, the travellers come from all over Europe, sometimes from even further afield.
They are waiting until all tourists will come here. And today, for your luck, you have excellent weather, no wind, really warm temperature, and even you can see the top of our Pyramiden mountain. Quite unique situation. Most of the time it's hidden with clouds. And now we will have a walk.
What Dmitry doesn't say is that there's the possibility they could run into polar bears. Spitsbergen is their realm. That's why he always carries a rifle.
Okay, guys, move. Let's move. Follow me.
I don't just work as a tour guide. I'm also the settlement's tourism manager. I can gather lots of good experiences here. It gives me lots of positive ideas for my future. I like it here. It's the northernmost point I've ever been to. A fascinating place. And then there's this great Arctic landscape. That's why I'm here.
It's so quiet here. It's absolutely amazing place, and you should feel it, and you will do it. And you can see the left, the right black signs. It's former Swedish mine. So then Russia bought this place in 1927 and started coal mining just after World War II. So you can see from here our mine. It's really unique mine, Elsa, because entrance to it situated between 400 and 500 meters above sea level.
Despite the collapse of the Soviet Union, Moscow continued to invest in new shafts and facilities. But this all came to an end in 1998, even though there's still plenty of coal in the mountain. Russia was bankrupt. There was no more money for the expensive Soviet legacy.
It was a very modern settlement at the time, and it still attracts all kinds of people. It has a bright future as a tourist magnet. I think there's a special spirit here, a good atmosphere, even though the place has long been abandoned.
The idea is for tourism to revive the ghost town of Pyramida again. The Russians don't want to let the settlement go entirely to ruin. Pyramida is officially to have a second life as an open-air museum, a piece of Soviet history for people to experience. That's the idea of the state-owned mining company, Arktikugol, but they don't yet have a coherent concept. For a few years now, a handful of workers have been employed here again, but in the short summers between